Hello, it's me, James, and I'm here with Ben. Hi, Ben.
Hello.
And we, as you may see from the screen, have got some more spoilers for you. We might be giving it a little bit away in terms of who the characters are, but I think you'll enjoy what you
Mm,
see. And this is some pretty nice artwork. I think it's the covers of X-Men Gold numbers 3 and 4. And I couldn't really resist. It's pretty. And incidentally, the one on the left, the kitty, is the original artwork for the kitty card which we spoilt last time and which was changed for some reason and we don't know why. Anyway,
looks very nice,
without
though, don't it?
yeah, it's good. I like it. Without further ado, let's crack on. And I've got to get my fingers right, so I've got to change to this scene, and you will see the first card, which is that button. Kitty Pride. No huge surprise there. We did was it the uncommon we did last time? I
Yeah,
forget.
yeah, uncommon.
And this one's the rare. It's a 2-cost mask with the X-Men and Hellfire Club affiliations. It's called Just Passing Through. And the text is simply Infiltrate. We did talk about this, both of these cards, a little bit on the podcast. But if you haven't heard, Ben, what do you think about this one?
It's okay. Infiltrate's a fun little ability that is useful. The double affiliation is nice. Not for any particular reason at the moment, but potentially in the future. Yeah, I like it. I like Kitty Pryde's stats in general, and 2-cost masks are always quite good. It's not particularly an exciting card. We've seen things like this a lot in the past.
We've got Sasha Banks and Danny Moonstar. How do they
Yeah,
compare?
these are just a couple of choices that we made. There's literally dozens of infiltrators available, especially
Is
at
it,
2 costs. Seem to
is
be
it
like the range.
is it literally dozens? I'm not sure it's literally dozens.
I think it is over the maybe you have to go back into golden
Oh,
a
okay.
little bit, but definitely there's at least 12 2-cost infiltrators. I think.
Okay.
Um, anyway, these two are good comparisons because Danny's a mask and has the same fielding costs but weaker stat lines.
hmm
So Kitty Pryde is better than Danny. The Sasha Banks is a bit more of a challenge. Slightly better stats from Kitty Pryde, but Sasha has a secondary when KO'd prep a die from your bag ability. But I think in general, if you want an infiltrator,
hmm
especially at 2 costs, Kitty Pryde is actually quite a good choice.
And the affiliations might play into your team building, so that could be
Yeah,
useful.
and the mask. Yep.
Yep, okay. And how can we make Infiltrate better? Well, first of all, we have to get rid of Sasha and Danny, like that. And then we have to press this button, and we get Black Viper, notorious bandit, who herself has Infiltrate. And it says, while Black Viper is active, character dice you control deal an additional damage with Infiltrate. Nice.
Yeah, we've seen better infiltrate teams, I think, in the past, especially the Angela and Ricochet from Guardians of the Galaxy.
hmm
We talked about that on the pod, but this Black Viper is actually pretty useful, making infiltrate not just 1 damage, but 2 damage. Infiltrate is kind of cool because it has a very distinct timing window in that it happens after blockers are declared, like straight away.
hmm
So it's kind of a funky. You can use it before your opponent has any opportunity to globals in the attack step, which is kind of interesting.
Yep.
So adding the extra point of damage from the Black Viper is very useful, and yeah, maybe more of a casual team, but definitely a fun little card to build around the Black Viper. And I think Kitty Pride would be something you want to use on that team.
Yeah, totally. Okay, yeah, nice card. But let's move on to the other one. I think you know who it might be, and the die was actually spoiled a good long time ago. I first saw it on Twitter, New Dice Masters. It was on the 22nd of October last year. So we've known about Gambit's existence for quite a long time. Gambit and Kitty, they're together, in fact. But this is the first time I think that we've seen a card from Gambit, and here it is. If I can get the right button, it is I Like Solitaire. It's a 5-cost mask with the X-Men affiliation. He's got his traditional die. And the text says, when fielded, if you have fielded no other character dice this turn, re-roll all opposing character dice, move any that roll an energy face to their used pile. You may not field any more character dice this turn. Ben, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I like it. I like board clears in general are a very useful thing to have on your team. With the X Men affiliation, that's also useful. And I don't love the fielding costs. So 1/1/2 is a bit annoying for a when fielded ability. But actually, this ability is so powerful that it kind of makes up for it. We have seen reroll board clears in the past.
I'm just going to
We have a
obscure his pretty
section of
face
them.
for a moment. Yep.
And all of these cards, Umber Hulk, Batman, and Green Devil Mask, have definitely seen meta play. So we're not really expecting any less from this card. The ability to kind of clear your opponent's field, especially when they have to reroll and they go to use, is very, very strong.
I know I've spoken before about the Umber Hulk that my heart sinks when somebody buys an Umber Hulk. Ugh. Yeah.
I mean, even at the worst, because you're still giving your opponent 50-50 chance of rolling back most characters. The main thing this is brilliant for is removing a psychic wall.
Yeah.
And it does several things. First off, it removes characters, but secondly, probably more annoyingly, it floods your bag. So even if you've been like perfectly bag managing, you're definitely not going to be able to after this comes out. And yeah, you have an extra 5 or 6, dice rolling around. So yeah, very strong. We actually have another when fielded board clear in Modern currently.
Is the Malignant Plaguecaster. Blades of Putrefaction, amongst my favourite names in the game. And this one is just re-rolling level 1 and 2, and your opponent may pay 1 per character to ignore the ability, and I think it doesn't send them to use, right?
No, it only KOs them, which
KOs
so yeah, there's several things that make this Gambit much better. Basically, the only thing the Malignant Plaguecaster has going for it is slightly better stats attack-wise, well, considerably better stats attack-wise, and a bit better fielding cost-wise.
And he's got a little hedgehog on his die, which is nice, I think.
He does. I actually like the Malignant Plaguecaster. I think it's actually a pretty cool die. The fact that the Gambit is considerably better makes it a pretty strong card, and definitely one that's going to see a lot of play, I think.
Yeah, we did mention that Gambit is not only an X-Men but also a mask, which opens us up to things like Kitty Pryde, more human than you, which discounts X-Men characters by 2 when she's fielded, and also Aska, forgive my pronunciation if that's not correct, and that's for mask characters. So the Gambit has utility which the Malignant Plaguecaster does not in that respect.
Yeah, definitely. I think, especially with the Kitty Pryde and the Gambit, the when fielded, you can use even something like the Dark Phoenix Global, which you can pay a bolt to KO a character making 2 less. Really works with the when fielded effects of Gambit and Kitty Pryde in particular, but the Oscar probably works with more stuff. So I think we have to talk about the problem with Gambit, which is the secondary thing that you may not field any more character dice this turn. So it's brilliant because you can clear up an opponent's field, but then you have to think about actually how am I going to get enough damage through with the Gambit. His stats aren't bad on level 3. 4/4 is not terrible. And the Oscar, if you can keep the Oscar active, she can get a little bit of a pump, and she has okay attack stats as well. Maybe you want to use something like the Katana that spins stuff up when fielded, just to make sure they're at their top levels.
Or
But there's also Zatanna, sorry, not Katana, yes. But we also have another solution for an Oscar team, which is kind of a common combo with Oscar anyway.
We've got something which would be masky and beefy.
Yeah, really beefy. Probably the best stat. Well, definitely very good stats. 4, 5, 5, and the good thing about that is it's pretty consistent all along all its levels. Whereas the Gambit kind of jumps from 1 to 4. This jumps from 4 to 5, so it's not particularly widespread. It also has a Swarm, which might give you a little bit of a churn. Don't count that too much, but yeah, if you can buy the Kangs for 1 using Oscar and the Gambits for 3, you can do quite a lot of damage with that.
Yeah, we should be clear that unless you have some other way around it, which we'll come to in a minute, you would have to have these Kangs in the field already the turn before Gambit is fielded, because Gambit has to be the first and last thing officially fielded unless you do something tricksy.
Yeah. Yeah, but the Kang and Oscar you kind of both want active anyway because their abilities are while active effectively.
Yep, but also for Oscar, you really want to field some more stuff because, especially mask stuff, because then she gets buffed. And if Gambit's going to reroll all their dice, really you want to somehow get around Gambit's ability. We had a couple of ideas. The first one is not a mask, I think. It's this one.
No, it's just another tank. Yeah.
Mastermold, Endless Sentinel, says when fielded, when Mastermold attacks, or when Mastermold is KO'd, place a Sentinel token with 5 attack and 5 defense into the field zone. Worth mentioning, I think, probably for 2 reasons. These tokens can add up pretty quickly, so it's quite possible that you will have an established field by the time you field Gambit. So you might not need to field anything else. And also worth mentioning that Mastermold says it says place a Sentinel token in the field zone, so that's not fielding unless it explicitly says fielding. It isn't. It wouldn't help you on the turn when he attacks, because by that time it's too late to assign the generated token to attack, but still it does get around it in one way.
Yeah, the idea is to just get up a wall. So I think the ideal scenario for the Gambit is to kind of field Gambit, reroll everything on your opponent's field out, and then you can swing through for 20 damage, right? And Mastermold just helps you back up that 20 damage potential on your board quicker than just about anything else. If you can field Mastermold, attack with Mastermold, and then KO Mastermold, you can get 3 5/5 tokens. So that's 15 already.
You do that on the turn before Gambit, and then even if you don't manage to kill on the turn when you field Gambit, if you attacked with Mastermold, you would generate another token which would act as a sort of defense for the return swing from your opponent.
Yep. So yeah, it's pretty strong. I mean, the Mastermold is going to be really strong on its own anyway. The Gambit is just another good solution to the board clearing problem. Mastermold probably its biggest drawback is going to be someone fielding hundreds of sidekicks. Well, not hundreds, up to 8 sidekicks, I suppose. Technically, is how many you can field. But yeah, if they can field a bunch of sidekicks, then Mastermold needs a way around that. Gambit's an excellent solution to that problem.
Indeed. And we did have one other solution to the problem of not being able to field stuff on the same turn as Gambit and still wanting to attack, and that is that button.
Convoluted.
Yes, convoluted, indeed. It's Loki. He's a bolt, sadly, not a mask, which would have been better. It's from Infinity Gauntlet. It's the common. If you would spin Loki up, always spin him up to level 3, but more importantly, awaken. Deal 1 damage to target character die and ignore its text until end of turn. So awaken abilities take place when the die spins up 1 or more levels. So you need some way to awaken it, which we'll come to in a minute, but then you can blank Gambit's card text after you've fielded, and that's the idea, right?
Yeah, so if you can field Gambit, so if you have Loki already active, you can field Gambit. He's the first thing you field that turn. You can then use Loki's awaken ability to ping Gambit, which potentially level 1 could KO him and cycle him as a bonus thing. But the main thing is that it blanks his card, which means that Gambit's secondary annoyance, which you can't field any more characters, doesn't exist anymore, right? So you can then subsequently field however many characters you want, even if you fielded a Gambit, because Gambit's text no longer exists.
So you can hopefully have already a few askers in the field, and then you can field a bunch of mass characters and buff them up, ideally. And we had one other thing which feeds into Loki, because Loki obviously needs the Awaken ability, needs some way of spinning stuff up. And there are a couple of ways to do that, but one that is coming back in the Dark Phoenix set, which we've been missing, or I have for sure, is mutation. The global says, pay a mask, spin one of your character dice, weirdly, down a level, to spin another target character die up a level. So you can use that to trigger Loki's Awaken effect, which is important, but also, Ben?
Yeah, also the main action ability, if you buy that actual action itself, lets you swap target character die into the field zone. Again, it doesn't say field, it says swap, so it gets around the Gambit secondary ability. So, for example, the Kang, who has a 4 attack on level 1, and you roll Gambit level 1, you can use the mutation to upgrade your 1/1 into a 4 attack Kang.
Yes, you could swap out Gambit,
for example. Yeah, then you get Gambit into the use pile, so you can cycle it again. Mutation also has some utility, the defensive piece, to swap out something your opponent has. Maybe even Angela that stops when fielded effects might be something that annoys Gambit, so you can use mutation as a way around that. But yeah, it's an all-round, seems to fit well with the Gambit card, which is kind of a cool thematic thing.
Yeah. All in all, we like it quite a lot, right?
Yeah, very good. The Gambit, I think, is going to see definitely some play, whether it will get up to the heights of Pip the Troll or Becky, I'm not quite sure, but it's definitely going to be on everyone's list to try out and on my list to try out.
Okay. Yeah, excellent. Okay. Thank you very much, Ben, and thank you everybody at home for watching. We hope that's been interesting and useful for you. Please don't forget to, if you like the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click notification icons and whatnot. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.